Selamat siang. Welcome back to another Bali COVID-19 update. This is April 20th, 2022, and my name is Bruce. And what's the weather like today? Yuck. We had a huge storm last night. Everything is wet here, and it is overcast and, well, just not a very pleasant day, unfortunately. And the wind speed is 2.4 kilometers per hour. The temperature is a very cool 27.6 degrees Celsius. A big difference from yesterday. Yesterday was 31.2, I think. Today it's 27.6. Huge drop in temperature. And the humidity is 81%, and it looks like it is going to rain again. But other than the weather, the news is good today. The numbers, stable, but not as good as yesterday. And let's get into that. A lot of stuff today. So number of new cases up a little today, 837 nationally. National recoveries, 2,750, down a lot from yesterday. National deaths, 34, down a little bit from yesterday. Bali new cases, 36, up a little from yesterday. Bali recoveries, 36, and Bali deaths, 0. That's good news. So the numbers are stable, and that is going to lead into the main story. PPKM, Java-Bali extended. No region under strictest COVID-19 restrictions. So overall good news. So the Indonesian government has decided to extend the enforcement of public mobility restrictions, or PPKM, in Java-Bali until May 9th, 2022. Why are they extending it to May 9th? Usually here it's a week. Well, probably because Mudik is coming up. And so we've got a long extension. And what level are we at? We're at level 2 still. In the Home Affairs Ministerial Instruction number 22 of 2022, it was stipulated that no regions were under the strictest COVID-19 restrictions, or level 4. The number of regions under level 1 increased from 20 to 29, unfortunately not us. Consequently, the number of regions under level 2 dropped from 99 to 97, and the number of regions under level 3 declined from 9 to only 2. So overall, good news in Indonesia, and that goes along with the numbers as well, of course, and bed occupancy rate is down as well. So Bali is going to stay at level 2 until at least May 9th, and by that time we may be getting some indication of what happened with Mudik, if there was an increase in cases or not. And here is one for all of you that are in Bali already, just so that you're not surprised. All disaster sirens in Bali beep on April 26, 2022. The regional secretary for the province of Bali, Dewa Indra, said the gong, sirens, bells related to disaster will ring on April 26 simultaneously at 10 o'clock in the morning. So if you are out and around on April 26, which I think is Sunday, and you hear all sorts of noise, it's just practice. Don't worry about it. This is based on a circular letter in order to build preparedness to face the threat of disasters, as well as to commemorate Disaster Preparedness Day, HKB, which falls every April 26th. I did not know that we had a Disaster Preparedness Day, and now I do know, and now you know too. So happy Disaster Preparedness Day. So in addition to ringing the bells, the gongs, the sirens, and ringing everybody else's bells, authorities will be preparing emergency procedures, evacuation protocols, and the like on the 26th. We're getting closer and closer to Mudik, and people are already on the move. Maybe they paid attention to what Pak Jokowi said that I talked about in the last video. Averse to being stuck in traffic jams, residents choose to go home early. So even though Eid is still a few weeks away, many residents have gone home early. Seen at Gilimanuk Harbor, people traveling by motorbikes and cars chose to go home early because, well, of what happens with the massive traffic jams once people begin to go home around the 28th of April. Information from travelers who are going home early said that many of them work in private companies or they're casual day laborers, and they're returning home so as not to get stuck in traffic. And these are people going from here over to Java, not coming the other way. According to an official over at the port, there is an increase in people going from Bali to Java, both passengers, two-wheelers, and private vehicles. He said, however, that the increase has not been too significant. Not too many are going right at this time. However, anticipating a surge in the flow going home later, he said that infrastructure and facilities have all been prepared. The number of ships normally flowing in the Bali Strait, 46 units, according to this article. And this number will be increased if there's increase in the homecoming flow so that congestion does not occur. Not a good time to travel. And interesting, a lot of people just assume people are going to be coming to Bali, but we've got it going the other way. So that's a Moodic update. And now on to a segment about the sexual violence bill and a couple of follow-up stories that show why it's so important that we have the sexual violence bill. I've covered the sexual violence bill and the sexual violence law a number of times, and so here is another update. Activists call for swift implementation of sexual violence law. Ratna Batara Munti of the Legal Aid Foundation of the Indonesian Women's Association for Justice urged the government to immediately start a drafting process that ensures public participation. In a statement, the National Commission on Violence Against Women also made a similar push for the government to immediately draw up derivative regulations so the newly passed sexual violence crimes law can be properly implemented. And this segment answers a couple of questions that people ask about this when I did a segment on this a couple of days ago. After the bill is passed by the House, it needs to be signed by the President to enforce it. However, even without President Jokowi's signature, the sexual violence law will go into effect automatically 30 days after it's passed by the House. The law mandates that the government issue 10 implementing regulations, with 5 provisions in the form of governmental regulations and the remaining 5 as presidential regulations. The 5 governmental regulations are mandated to stipulate the mechanism of case handling, protection, and victims' recovery. 3 presidential regulations will regulate integrated services, including a team for Social Security and healthcare, a Center for Integrated Services, and the implementation by regional women's and children protection agencies. The remaining 2 presidential regulations will be on education and training for law enforcement officials and national policy on sexual violence eradication. So all of this sounds great. According to the new law, the 10 regulations must be issued within 2 months after they were signed by the President. No word yet from the Executive Office of the President on when Pak Jokowi will sign the law. Women's Empowerment and Child Protection Minister Bintang Puspayoga said that the government was ready to prepare the implementing regulations. She said she would coordinate with the finance minister regarding the Victim Trust Fund, with the Law and Human Rights Minister on training for law enforcement officials, and with regional administrations regarding prevention and integrated services in the regions. Ibu Ratna said that the government should at least prioritize 5 provisions, such as the mechanism of case handling, victims protection and recovery, victims trust fund, integrated service, training for law enforcement officials, and a national policy for sexual violence eradication. The current revised draft of the criminal code must also be updated, as the sexual violence law excludes coerced abortion and provides little mention of rape. The current health law only allows rape victims and those with medical conditions to access abortion, and that needs to be updated regarding pregnancy as a result of sexual violence. According to Ibu Ratna, victims of sexual violence are at risk of unwanted pregnancies and traumatic events. This happens, for example, in cases of sexual slavery, sexual exploitation, and forced marriages. And as I mentioned before, opponents of the bill argued that the bill had a liberal feminist ideology and was driven by a Western agenda that contravenes the country's religious and cultural values. I don't think so. What about the sexual violence bill? There are reasons for this, and here is a story that shows one of the reasons. Child breast theft actors' reason for satisfaction and fun. Okay, what happened was a guy here was arrested for grabbing young women's breasts, grabbing them and squeezing them. He was arrested on Friday night near his boarding house in Denpasar, and he was arrested using the same motorbike that went viral on social media after he was caught on a CCTV camera attacking a young girl on a bicycle. Lukman is an online motorcycle taxi driver, comes from Banyuwangi in East Java, and so he was caught on film squeezing the breast of a minor in Denpasar in Panjshir. Last week, when asked by the police why he was doing this, he said that he gets satisfaction and pleasure and fun when he commits these actions. This is why we need these kind of bills, these sexual violence bills. This stuff goes on all the time here, way too often, and it's rarely reported. Okay, so there's that terrible case with the young girl being groped. And here's another story just to illustrate that there is a lot of sexual violence, a lot of sexual attacks going on that aren't reported. As one person said a few videos ago when I was talking about the sexual violence bill, what we see is just the tip of the iceberg. Another male teacher arrested for molestation in West Java. Bandung City Police have arrested a male teacher in an Islamic boarding school in Bandung for alleged sexual abuse. The man was arrested in Tasikmalaya in West Java for allegedly abusing at least 12 victims aged 10 and 11. The arrest was made following a report by one of the victims in early March. According to Bandung Police Chief Kusworo, the alleged crimes have been going on since 2017. The suspect was arrested under child protection law, which carries a maximum penalty of 15 years imprisonment. These kind of things are not only terrible in themselves, even worse when it's teachers, people who parents entrust with their children's care and who kids trust. Earlier this month, the Bandung High Court sentenced Harry Wirawan, a teacher again at an Islamic boarding school, to death for the rape of more than a dozen students in a case that shed light on sexual abuse in the country's religious boarding schools. There's a lot of pushback from the ultra-conservatives here. Okay, let's get on to something a little more pleasant. Sandiaga. Haven't heard from him in a long time. 59 million homecomers to visit tourist sites during the Eid holidays. Okay. So our tourism minister said that 60 to 70% of homecomers are going to be visiting tourist sites. Oh, okay, that's nice. He said many of the homecomers this year will be concentrated in 6 Java regions: Central Java, East Java, West Java, Jakarta, Banten, and Jogja. While recognizing that people are going to be going to tourist sites, the tourism minister said that he hopes the travelers will spread out evenly, especially in tourist villages. He appealed to the public not to flock to certain tourist sites and cause crowds in one location. Why? Right, because social distancing, right? We don't want the numbers to go up. And, well, as I've said many times over the past few years, no social distancing in Indonesia. The evenly spread of tourists is expected in line with relaxed travel requirements. At present, the government allows people who have received the booster vaccine or the 3rd dose of COVID-19 to travel long distances without presenting a negative result of an antigen or the PCR test. Pakuno said in addition, the existence of the toll road will ease travelers from Java who are going to visit destinations in Sumatra and Bali and NTB. Travelers are encouraged to spend their money on products and services offered by the regions. Thus, the money circulation during the Lebaran holidays could contribute positively to economic recovery in districts and cities. Pak Uno predicted that the money circulation in the tourism sector during the Eid homecoming period will reach 72 trillion rupiahs. Wow, okay. That is going to be an injection of cash into the economy. Okay, that is it. It's a wrap up for today. This is a little longer than usual. I have a plan coming up, some modifications again, which I will talk about in the next day or two. I haven't quite figured out exactly how the plan is going to work, but it's going to be a little change, a little modification, and waiting for some more clarification still on the visas and the tariffs. And as soon as that comes out, I will have it here. Videos are, well, I'm not sure when the videos are going to be. Let's just say if you found this helpful, useful, informative, inspiring, amusing, hilarious, not irritating, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing, especially with the new situation, the new plans that are in the works right now. I'm just like the Indonesian government. I'm going to make an announcement and then not give any details. Okay. Thanks for viewing. Stay safe. Be kind to someone today, and I will see you tomorrow.